Alright, what is going on, guys? Got another breakdown for UFC 286. This one's on the prelims at flyweight. We got Jake Hadley taking on Malcom Gordon. These guys are about the same size, only a 2 inch reach advantage for Gordon, so barely anything. Same height. Gordon's going to be the older fighter, 32 years old, soon to be 33. Hadley, 26, going on 27. So I will start with Malcom Gordon, I suppose, the underdog. 2-3 in the UFC to this point, but he's had a good account of himself in a couple of these fights, or at least against Makayev he did. I mean, Makayev hasn't shown the high level sub game that we think he'd have, but he did get the armbar at the end of that fight. Gordon did have his moments though, a couple nice reversals. He did take his back at one point, but wasn't able to do enough in that one, but almost survived, which would have been a moral victory there if he was able to go to the scorecards. But just got caught in that armbar at the end. The other losses, Amir Albazi was Albazi's UFC debut, and it's gonna happen. Albazi's very good, and Sumadarji got knocked out in the first round. Sumadarji does have a lot of power, but he has won as an underdog in both of his fights that he's won. He's been a pretty sizable underdog against Dennis Bondar. Goes down as an arm injury, but I think it was an arm injury based on damage. Gordon was winning that fight handily. It was a short fight, but he drops him, and then he threatened an armbar and was really cranking on his arm, and then he did clearly get hurt. But I think it was from the submission. So solid first round victory there. He was an underdog in that one too. So he's shown that he can be live for sure, and he does his best work on the ground. Has 6 wins in his career by submission, and some of these submissions are really nice. The ones he got before the UFC against, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the Sherbatov fight. Maybe it was. Really wild, just 2 minute fight there. He gets dropped. Looked like he was finished, but he somehow survives. Just works on a single leg, gets to his back, gets the choke, and just wild. He got it goes down as a rear naked choke, but he had to transition between like 3 or 4 different submissions. So I think you get the point. He's got a pretty high level sub game. I don't know how his cardio is. He's won most of his fights in the first or second round, and then against Figueiredo, he was looking a little tired in that one. Got a little bit lucky because Figueiredo slipped in the third round. He was able to get a lot of control time on that one that went towards winning the third round, but he was starting to slow down a little bit. On the feet, I think Hadley's going to have the clear advantage. Gordon, not a ton of volume. When he does return fire, he tends to throw pretty heavy, but again, he seems to do most of his good work when he has a threat of a submission. Very high level jiu-jitsu and all around ground game, as evidenced by the 6 subs. But Hadley has 5 pro victories by submission, including in his last fight, and he looked excellent in his last fight against Carlos Candelario. Back and forth, just an all-out jab war. Both guys trading jabs and heavy leg kicks, but as the fight went on, and again, very high volume. We're talking like 50 strikes each way, about 3 minutes in. It just kind of became clear that Hadley was just winning the exchanges just a little bit and started to distance himself with these really nice body shots. And then it goes to the ground. I can't remember how it got to the ground. I think Candelario may have taken him down, but he immediately just throws up a triangle. I mean, immediately just locks it up. Didn't get the choke right away, but he had him trapped there, his arm trapped, and it was just raining elbows that were doing a lot of damage, and he eventually cinches that triangle in. He has 5 career wins by submission. Like I was saying, went down the same way on the Contenders series. So yeah, very high level sub game off of his back for Hadley, and he seems like he'll go for something, and then if it's not there, he'll try to work back up. Sometimes you see fighters that have a really good submission ability off their back. Sometimes they just get too comfortable playing around down there and they can get out grappled and give away fights. He seems to have a good awareness to not let that happen. And on the feet, very fast, like twitchy movements. And I think his best striking performance was in his last fight. He looked really, really good. In his UFC debut against Alan Nascimento, just got out grappled. Had moments in there, but Nascimento, really good grappling display there. Was just a step ahead, couldn't let him get up. So he never really got much going in that fight. Other than that, it's been a lot of stoppages and just looking really, really good for Jake Hadley. So we look at the odds here, and as to be expected, Hadley is a big favorite and minus 380. I made sure I had to do this video early this morning because the line has gotten steamed up fast. It was like minus 320 just a couple days ago. So that's why I'm trying to get in this flow of trying to catch some of these early lines, get these videos up. But at minus 380, I would still play it. But anything beyond that, like the reason why I didn't just look at this fight coming up and just immediately slam Hadley at minus 320 was because I know that Gordon is a little bit dangerous. I think that Hadley is still going to get it done here, but Gordon is definitely not a can. And if he wins this fight, he's a certified prospect killer. This will be his third scalp that he's claimed. So it has happened before. I just think that Hadley's on a higher level than Francisco Figueiredo or Dennis Bondar, but Gordon has a good sub game himself. He has gotten caught in a couple triangles as well against Albazi and against Makayev. He got him with a triangle. It was maybe an armbar, but kind of the same deal. Just caught him when he was like stacked up in guard. So it could be there, but I think on the feet, Hadley's going to have a clear advantage. I think cardio, Hadley's going to have an advantage. Durability and chin, I think Hadley. So, Gordon's only chance to win here, I think. And I don't want to say only because, again, he's a game fighter, but I think his best chance to win would be to submit him, and I think it's going to be tough to submit Hadley. He seems pretty high level on the ground. I haven't really seen his sub-defense tested by a guy like this. This will be his toughest test, but I think he'll pass it. But again, the line is getting a little bit out of hand. I might look for the Hadley by submission prop when we get it, but we won't get that for a few days. So thanks for watching, guys. Sure, subscribe and take it easy.